And hello, everyone. Hope you are doing well. So, you have completed your phase 3 cardiac rehab program. Well done. I've had a chance to listen to each of them, and they have been uploaded into Canvas. So, recall that there are different phases of cardiac rehabilitation. There is the phase 1 in the hospital phase, and your goal there is to get people back to functional activities. So, here in that acute care center, again, we're progressing people to return back to activity and hopefully be able to get them out of the hospital as soon as possible and as safely as possible. That's the thing is you want to get people to the least expensive level of care that gives them then the opportunity to rehab because being in the hospital is extremely expensive. If you were an acute care therapist working in a center like this, what are you going to be doing? Well, following the physician's post-operative protocols, being mindful of any precautions or contraindications that they have in place. But reality is you're going to be working on bed mobility, transfer training, and going for walks. So getting that um, physical activity endurance improved. Some of those basic skills that you worked on during your first year in the program. Second phase, again, of cardiac rehab, this is the one that we really don't do a lot of work in. This is, like I mentioned before in class, where the exercise physiologists and sometimes nurses will be on staff. More often than not, there's more exercise physiologists than nurses. And the big reason for that is that we are expensive. Now, nurses are expensive too, but they have the ability to administer drugs in a hospital setting. Where a physical therapist in a hospital hourly rate might be $35 to $45 per hour. The exercise physiologist, who is well trained in doing activities like this, only costs about $25 an hour. Now, if you've got concerns like, gosh, I really wish I knew this stuff better, or I hadn't experienced this, or like I got to make sure you know, I got to feel like I'm going to be safe working with people. Let me try to put your concerns at ease. One is, in my 24 years, I have not met a single therapist that works within phase 2 cardiac rehab. Doesn't mean they don't exist. Actually, let me take that back. There's one person that says she does some phase 2 cardiac rehab stuff at a hospital in Baker City that I did meet. But here's the reality. Here's what you need when doing a program like this. You need a plan in place. You need a program. You're not going to just one day wake up and go, okay, so and so, you need to be able to do phase 2 cardiac rehab. Why? Because the cardiologists care about their patients. They want to make sure that their patients are progressing their physical activity in a safe way. Other professionals may be involved because if you've got several people there, you may have with you an RN or exercise physiologist. If you ever go visit a cardiac rehab facility, there's a lot of people in there. You also need to be in close proximity to an emergency room. Again, why is that? Well, if somebody's just had a heart attack in the past few weeks, you want to make sure in case something goes south, you're able to get them care ASAP. And there's big expense to doing stuff too. So if you are working in a hospital and they were wanting to do and offer this, they really need to fork out the money. So for example, telemetry units, 3 units, basically 3 units that you could then do a monitor setup. I got price quotes on this recently, $40,000 just for 3 units. And I've seen facilities where they've got 14 units going at the same time. So you can start to do the math there. So you need a lot of equipment, a lot of exercise equipment, a lot of expensive telemetry stuff. So it's not going to just pop up one day and say, hey, you start doing rehab for people with myocardial infarctions. So people will get through this period of time, and there are places that do stuff. Where we may spend more time is with the maintenance side of things. So, and that's what we're working on here today, or we've worked on this term, is developing a phase 3 cardiac program, that maintenance program. So, as we talked about in class, people have heart issues. The majority of the top 10 deaths each year, the majority are related to heart disease. As I work with patients in skilled nursing facilities, those patients oftentimes have one or more different heart-related conditions. What are we talking about here when it comes to maintenance versus those individuals in a skilled nursing facility? Big difference. Skilled nursing facility, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to get them back to home. So I'm working on bed mobility, transfer training, and gait walking. We're not really stressing them all that hard. And you should feel kind of good about that. It's like, okay, somebody has a history of X, Y, and Z. You're not going to be doing anything unsafe to them. And if the physician had any concerns, they would let you know that within their referral paperwork. What we're talking about and what you've been studying with the phase 3 program is trying to help people maintain their current functional level and possibly to help improve it. So again, it's that maintenance program. We talked that there is limited research sometimes. Again, the value of the programs is when people adhere to them, and doing things in a group environment seems to help that adherence. As I mentioned in class, often hospital settings will offer a phase 3 program, and they'll do that a couple times a week, and people will come and pay cash because insurance does not typically reimburse. In our area, a lot of the hospitals have started to phase out the phase 3 program, though. They've probably started to phase it out because it's not financially beneficial. So, what does that mean? Well, you've worked on a phase 3 program. Again, I've looked them over. Nice work. Those have been uploaded. So you can find all of your classmates' presentations. What was really good about this particular assignment and you working as a team is that you've developed something from literature that's available, from the work that other experts have done. And this is one of your most important skills that you can develop. Going to the research literature, accessing information, and developing something that is very evidence informed. Now, will you ever find yourself in a position to implement a program like this? And that is a great question. I don't know the answer to that. Maybe if you were to work someplace like at Infinity Rehab, where you're the therapist on site there, and you do a mix of both outpatient care and skilled nursing. I could see you potentially with a population that's around developing a program where maybe you've got a class a couple days a week that is a cardiac rehab program. Here's an example up here. This picture is of Friendsview, I believe. At least that's what Google Images says when they're all done with their construction. Large population. I guarantee you there are people there with heart history. If you were an on-site therapist for a place like that, having a phase 3 program could make sense. Now, online, you'll find all of your classmates' presentations. I created a separate module for each group. So there is the access to their presentation as well as their questions. Make sure to review the questions, but don't assume that those questions will appear exactly in that exact way that they wrote things out. And then also I created spaces for you guys to pose questions. And so if you have a question for the groups, please put it in there. Group members check in on those every few days, and I'll be checking in too.